This conference will now be recorded.
So we will call to order, stand for the pledge. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You guys are gonna take that back. We're gonna take that next year. Lord, we gotta do this.
Why get a new one, right?
So we come there with business for people to go to credits with some compassion and understanding. Okay. All right, so as we go, first item is public comment.
Hello, may I start? I had my hand raised. Lori Young, 22 Fulton Street here in Owego. Okay, as for the chickens and the roosters, we did such intensive research on this. There are very easy ways to contain a rooster, to stop a rooster from crowing. One is a $3.99 collar that is very easy to put around the rooster's neck. It does not choke it. What it actually does is stop it from breathing in deep enough to crow. There is still no actual official documentation that there was even a real problem other than the poison pen email and the woman who had a neighbor which had a coop. The neighbor had a coop attached to her fence, and the chickens kept coming over. That could have been solved by code. The noise ordinance should have been taken care of by OPD. The way I'm looking at this is I've never heard a rooster either described as a hen that can cluck, but that's not what a rooster is. I will be going to a different species of bird. All right, I have some hard questions to ask tonight. I cannot believe that financially, when I read that we did so poorly on our audit, that 31 different accounts were all out of order. I don't understand how this has happened. This happened in 2014. I asked today from New York State to send me a list of what they would advise the board to do to make sure that our books are in order. That's why we have a clerk treasurer. People aren't going to like me, and I don't care. The next department I spoke to was ethics. I went back and listened to over 2 years of recorded meetings. No one on the board may use medicinal marijuana, and it was said on 2 recordings that they had before coming to a meeting. You may not use medicinal marijuana or any alcohol. You must be 100% sober. I'm sorry, sober at the meetings as an elected official or any or anywhere you're going representing the village of Owego in your capacity.
3 minutes are up. So we gotta-
No, my 3 minutes are not up. I have a timer. My 3 minutes are not up at all. We started late. I'm sorry, I still have a minute and 20 seconds.
That's incorrect. I had a timer too, so.
Well, I have a timer, a minute and 20 seconds. We started late. I think the last thing I want to say is I talked to OSHA today. If you send a minor into that basement to do towels, or if any volunteer of the fire department goes into the basement, we need to have an OSHA retraining. Thank you very much. I would never jeopardize someone else's child.
Okay, who's next?
Manager coordinating the Tioga County Crop Hunger Walk. This year, it's going to be the third Sunday in October again. Like last year, it's going to start at the Methodist Church next to the library and end at the Presbyterian Church across from the fire station. Like last year, there'll be 2 walk options, a short and a long. The short walk is going to be the same as last year. The long walk is going to be a little bit different. Last year it was a 3-mile loop, and a lot of people kind of cut that short, so we decided to make it a 2-mile loop for the long walk. I've got kind of a preliminary map of the routes we're looking at. I can do that with you folks.
This is all on the sidewalk.
Mostly on the sidewalk. Initially, when they leave the Methodist church, sometimes they're on the street for a short distance. When we have, last year we had Purple Lightning joining us for like a block till they got to the Catholic church and they're on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I don't think you really need any approval from us on the sidewalk. I guess maybe you're gonna close the road or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, just hope that there's no other things that would conflict with the walk. We're not going through Marvin Park this year, so there shouldn't be any conflict if there's any activity in Marvin Park.
That's
All right.
great. Thanks for letting us know, Bob.
Thank you.
So, all right, who's next?
I might as well, I'm sorry, I'll speak up. Jerry and I are both board president of the museum. August 15th,
Who are you, sir?
John Ricklops, sir.
Then we ask everybody.
No, that's fine. You want me to stand up too?
Yeah, just introduce yourself to us.
All right, okay. John Ricklops, board president, Old Region Museum. August 15th, we have programs almost every Saturday during the summer. August 15th, I'm doing a program on the history of Tioga County jails, going all back to 1791 up to the most recent, the public safety building. It's going to start at 1 o'clock. We have a presentation and some slides and some great stories. So I just want to put that out there.
Well, they have a- All right, who's next?
Okay, I'm going to start with a response to Ron. At the last meeting, I reported that we had put out a request for chicken challenges. You asked me how many were in the village.
Right.
Roughly 175 of the 250 reported that they were in the village. I couldn't confirm all of them. 3 reported that they were anti-chicken. 1 was from Florida, 1 was from Wisconsin, and 1 was from South Carolina. As far as I know, those are beyond the village boundaries.
Last time I checked,
I did what I could.
no, I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, it's my time.
I know, I'm just gonna ask you, do I ask John to do it? Introduce yourself to him.
Doug Weeks, 560 Fifth Avenue.
Thank you, Doug.
I gotta say up front, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the headlines. I'm disappointed in the report that the state controller put in, that for the last 5 years, we have not passed the audit. That's unconscionable. The fact that you guys are making decisions based on inaccurate information is scary. You're making a decision about budgets without accurate information. And I'm sorry, I'm going to stand on, this country was founded on one key principle. What it was? Taxation without representation. One of you board members has consistently said in meetings that you have not gotten all of the information that the other board members have gotten. That's wrong. And yes, I can prove it. So don't even start. Okay, that's wrong. That's taxation without representation. If you're not going to give the board members even the basic information. And that's wrong. This article says there are 31 accounts that haven't been balanced. I've looked over the financial statements for the last several months. I haven't found 31 accounts. I have not seen a profit and loss statement. I have not seen a cash balance statement. All of those are important for doing a budget. How do you do a budget if you don't know where the cash space is? Okay? Second, or no, not second. I'm sorry, I have 15 seconds left. I've got my timer right here. I am a little bit ticked off about the rooster ban. It keeps coming up. You've spent over a year on this. During that same time, you have not balanced your budgets. You have not balanced your accounts. You have not dealt with the code enforcement issues that have not happened. You have not enforced the current law. That's all I asked for a year ago, and you haven't done it. Now you want to do a ban on them. You're banning roosters without any indication that they're actually crowing. You're just saying ban roosters. How would you feel if you passed a law that said you can't have a gun in this village because you might commit a crime? Is that legal? No. You're banning roosters without asking, and you've not been able to provide a single piece of evidence that there's been a challenge. The only challenge that I've heard was a lady who can't tell me where the freaking chicken is.
Can you not call out other people in the room, or you can leave?
She's the only one I know that's done a challenge.
Okay, you can leave. My friends outside will help
With-
you if you need.
What's that?
I said, you can leave, our friends on the lobby will help you.
Yeah, that's about right.
I will see.
With that, I am so disappointed in this board. I can't tell you. I'm disappointed. They can arrest me if they want. Good luck with it. That's why it's going to be a problem.
Hammer Gates, Owego Backyard Chickens, 565th Avenue, Owego. I will never be walking again. Never. I have a doctor's letter explaining why I need chickens in my life for 4 physical reasons. I now have them registered as emotional support animals. And according to both federal and state law, I can do so. Certificate I will supply to the village clerk's office in about a week when it gets here. In the meantime, I had a reporter in my backyard the other day when my rooster was crowing and they didn't hear it. I'm not going to name names, but when I was a child and I heard coyotes for the first time, my grandmother told me just turn over and go to sleep like an adult. And then, if it really bothered me, grab a lantern and go look. Instead, I'm probably expected to get up at between 4 and 4:30 in the morning. And by the way, I know what's setting that chicken off. There are kids who are roaming in that neighborhood between 4 and 4:30 a.m. They've been spotted several times. That will set a chicken off. It's an alarm system. But no, we're not going, oh, the kids roaming around in the middle of the night. We're going, oh, roosters at an age that you can't tell whether they're roosters or not, and hens that might make a little too much noise for someone. Units have got bigger things like traffic signals ain't working. A street that's caving in on Fulton. You've got bigger things to deal with than whether someone can't just learn to turn over and go back to sleep. Thank you. And I'll go out before you have the police arrest me.
That will never.
Oh, yeah, it will. You know it will.
In response to the accountant thing, we have replaced our accountant since then.
I wish I stayed. Wendy Dice, 383 Front Street, Owego. So I just want to mention that I don't know if the current rooster has extended his time period or if there are additional roosters, but we're now hearing them at 9 o'clock in the morning in addition to the earlier times, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when we have our cocktail at 5:30 on our street and porch. As I told Doug Weeks previously, it's someplace coming from Main Street or Erie Street or East Front Street. I don't know where. And I'm not going around with a tape recorder trying to figure it out. Just not my job. He can do that if he wants to. The second thing is, although the town of Owego is considered agricultural, the village of Owego is not zoned for agriculture. And all my comments reply to roosters at this point, although there's chickens who are acting like roosters, my comments would apply to them too. So I just want to, I'm sure the board is well aware of what the zoning is for the village of Owego. And then my final comment is regarding my statement from the last board meeting that I attended. Every single village and town in Broome and Tioga County, with the exception of Richford and Berkshire, prohibits roosters because they're a nuisance. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, so even though the village of Owego is inside the town, we have our own zoning, so none of their zoning laws apply. And actually, in the town of Owego, roosters have been illegal for 3 years or more, along with chickens unless you have 5 acres or more.
Well, you're not doing some radical kind of thing here.
For roosters, you have to have like a certified owner or something. I forget how they word it. As well. Yeah. So still on public comment? Who else do we got?
Charles Clinton, 1.5 Farm Street, here in Owego. Just have a request. Rodney, can you please say that prayer one more time? I don't think it was heard by everyone. Please.
I prefer you, I think you should give it something.
No, well, it was a prayer that we get along with this meeting in a manner that is respectful for all of us. And I don't want to go religious on everybody, and that's why I agree with the prayer that he says, but we all need to be respectful for each other. We know how trying this whole situation is with chickens and whatnot, in any kind of situation or any kind of matter that the board members, they're doing their best. I know firsthand. And our residents, they're doing their best. I mean, it takes a village. That's been my motto from the beginning. You got to do this together. You got to come to terms. You got to be respectful to each other. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't sound like a prayer, but I like the words that.
But I do respect that people get to say their thing.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
There you go.
Good, bad.
That's all I got to say.
Public comment? Who else we got? Anybody online? All right, so we'll move on to the program. We have the museum here, give us a little pitch, and then we have engineers right after that. Here, miss. And a little PowerPoint for them. This is the museum. Yeah, actually. All right, you tell me when to click, I'll click. Okay, or see what you want.
Can I see you? I'm right-handed, so. Oh, thank you. See, I became an attorney.
You're the lawyer.
Oh, God, no. First of all, thank you. My name is Jerry Smith. I'm the executive director of the Broome County, excuse me, 40th Tioga County Historical Society. Well, 38 years on their board. And, when we were discussing starting a capital campaign, a couple things came to the mind of the board. We realized even though this is initially done as a downtown revitalization initiative subject, it was never presented to the town board. You didn't get to choose the project. And I thought it would only behoove us for me to go outline what we're about to do. For those who haven't been to our museum, shame on you. We're at 110 Front Street. We've been there since 1960. We are in the historic district, but we are listed as a non-contributory item. We're just like Dunkin' Donuts. We're not old enough, except for our carriage house. So this is I'll go through a very fast PowerPoint we did for our gala with some additions for you. And you're looking at a conceptual drawing of the additions that will be put on the building. One on either side, 2-story additions, and one that encloses what we call the well. I'll get to that in just a moment. So being a historian, I have to talk about history. That we started in 1914, and at that point we met in the Colburn Library building till 1952, and then the 314 Front Street, which is the home of Minnie Wade. And it was through her auspices, her brother and her sister, that our museum building got started. So in 59, through the funds through the Wade Gaskell Endowment and Minnie Wade's estate, we started construction at 110 Front Street, where an 1850s Greek revival was purchased and demolished and the new building constructed. And we opened up on August 20th, the year after that, 1960. The building was designed by Robert Turner Bickford. And we'll see in a moment, he was smart enough to realize at some point we were going to need to expand the building. Historic societies don't just stop collecting on the day they open, they keep getting stuff. And we're in the heart of that district, and the building was so designed to blend in. Our doorway inside is an 1820s Pompelli mansion doorway. Everything will always be calm. Ha, ha, ha. So through the next 5 decades, the museum and society continued to grow. Collections, which once filled just a few cases, overflowed into the lower level. That's where our collections are today. This is the former location of our research center. And they moved that from upstairs downstairs. What could go wrong? Everything. That shot's probably very familiar to all of you. September 2011, flood higher than any previously recorded, reaches the southern tier. Museum, like most of Owego, was overrun with floodwaters, poured through the doors and windows in the lower level. The well especially, it just went to a level of about 5 feet throughout the museum building. My office, which is in the front, has a mark on the windowsill of where the high water mark was. So every day I know when I'm sitting there, I'd be drowning right at this moment. Sometimes I feel like that. We just did our budget. By the way, our books came out fine. My executive assistant and Wayne Schoen, who's our treasurer, we have to just reconcile every single month.
They were all playing nickel, right?
No. It was the $1 that Peter Gordon heard. We were arguing over it for 2 hours. No, he just watched us. We finally found it. So for months it took for the flood recovery. In fact, there are items there that still have flood mud on them 15 years later. By the way, they stink, as you can imagine. Things floated away. We don't know where they went. They're just considered lost in flood. And when everything came back, guess what? It was put right back where it started from. FEMA insisted that the collections be moved to the upper level above the flood levels. 2.5 years ago, the Army Corps of Engineers came in and did a study of 11 buildings. We were one of them. Guess what they said? Collections need to go above the flood levels. It's like a big duh. So, millions of dollars for the DRI. Seemed like it was the answer. Plans were developed using Delta engineers. they're very good, to build two-story additions on either side of the building and enclose the well and make a two-story addition on that area. That would take care of the windows, it would take care of the flood doors, it would give a storage space, it would allow the collections to go above. And I know they're small, but I apologize. The blue areas are the additions. The white area is the current building. It was designed by the original architects so that the expansion space would be there, but it wouldn't be visible from the front view of the building. The brick on the exterior would match the existing brick, so it would blend right in. And I'll go through those in just a minute. And DRI supplied $678,000 toward the project, and the Historic Society couldn't come up with its half. So in early 23, just about 6 months before I started, the funds were revoked. And as we know, the FEMA monies have been reduced, disaster funds have been cut, so those funds are no longer available. And again, that's a conceptual drawing of the two additions and the rear portion with the flat roofs. It would take our current driveway and go back a longer curve. Parking would be diagonal. It would actually increase our amount of parking without impacting the look on the building. So we had to find another path. And that's why I'm here today. So a couple of months ago, the Board of Trustees voted to start a $2.2 million capital campaign. We realized that federal government money was probably not going to be there, so we started out on our own. We got updated costs from Delta Engineers and Space Saver. That would be the movable shelving, which was never factored into the original cost. But it brought it all up. The last $200,000 is what they call soft money. That's for carpeting, painting, changing the HVAC system. We currently have a 3-boiler system that costs about $1,000 a year in maintenance, and would go to a split heat pump system. I'm losing the bottom line, but that's okay. So what's it going to do? Small print. We'll close the well. That's where the 2 fire doors allow all the flood waters to come pouring through. There would be a 2-level storage area on the bottom, office space on the top. On either side, there would be the 2-story additions. On the one facing the east would be a conference meeting room, which would be for our board and also bookable space for meeting groups. The other side would be storage. There would also be a fire-coated stairwell in the building. We don't have one currently. The collections would be moved upstairs on the movable storage on either side. That's a cost of $168,000 right there. The current collections would be refinished. Space would be finished back into what it was in 1960, a program exhibit area. So we could have programs because nothing of historical significance would be down there. Even if it flooded, it wouldn't get ruined once again. The additions would be, as I said, a fire-rated stairwell. The original windows would be moved to the outer perimeter in the exact same configuration they are today, but they'd be faux windows. You don't have light coming in on your collections area. So there'd just be a wall with a window in front of it that would mimic the windows. There would only be 3 that would actually have light coming through, and they'd be in a non-area of importance. The rear door that we come in every day faces the river. This would be turned to face the east, the same configuration as our elevator with flood protection gates if we had to put them up. Again, taking away that flood risk. And the 3-boiler system would be replaced by heat pump systems. That's about estimated to cost $100,000. The flat roofs. Since we're in the 21st century, we'll be having solar panels on there, which would be not visible from the ground, but will help reduce our energy usage and our energy costs, which is about 1/3 of our entire budget every single year. So we want to be as green as possible. We're moving to the electric heat pump system to get away from the gas boiler system. And all this would be done
Plus, there'd be some minor additions, probably a new sign out front. Laura came over and asked questions. I said, we're gonna have a big LED sign with a chicken coop underneath. No, we're not. This is why they don't let me out in public.
It's all right, you said it.
Yeah, I said it. Construction costs, right now, once we receive the money, it'll be about 10 months of construction. We're hoping to get this done by fall of next year. And work on the campaign is already done. We had donated funds from one of our former museum members to about $11,000. We have a bequest from the Marietta Tina to Numa Estate. She's Walter Tina's daughter, who gave us brought us up to about $31,000. There you can see our ubiquitous thermometer, which you can see on the front lawn. But wait, I forgot something. I forgot a donation. In about 4 to 5 weeks, Les Wagner is giving us a check for $1 million. Les is on our board. This whole story, I was trying to leave to go home. I live in Broome County. I know that's sacrilegious, but I do.
You're the director up there still.
Yeah, apparently I am. And he had me roll down my window and he just went, how much is that building thing back there? I said, well, $2.2 million. I'm selling 3,000 acres of lumber acreage. And I'm going to be giving you guys at least $1 million. And somehow we can trust Les. He sold a big chunk of it, and the next chunk's about to be sold, and so it'll be coming to us in late August, early September. So it puts us at the start of our campaign at the 50% mark. And now we just want you to know about it. We will follow all codes and ordinances. We want to make sure we are a good neighbor to the community, as we have been for 60-some years at that location. And we hope you spread the word that if people want a good cause, consider giving to our capital campaign. Thank you. Rusty.
Oh, yeah. So we understand how money is, and we understand how it is with the state, with the feds, but still, there are still a lot of grants out there.
Yes.
And if you guys could, I know you guys are working on it, if you can sniff out some grants, unless it's, can be the half
Well, that's it.
match, that's
We were going,
fabulous.
starting in August will be the NISCA capital campaign, construction grant cycle.
Yeah.
And first of all, $100,000 of that million would go to Delta to create actual construction blueprints. Because before we go for any grant, we actually have to have the blueprints in our hand, not conceptual drawing. Les has already agreed to that. And that also will be, because a lot of those are matching grants, his $1 million is going to be the matching. Perfect. And if you will be assured that I'm going after some of the other people in the community. Because we know there's some pockets out there that, and the fact that if we get a chunk here and a chunk there, Laura came up with the best idea I've ever heard, thank you, Laura, is that we sell bricks. You can buy a brick to the project. And I just looked it up, we would need just under 72,000 bricks. There's a brick calculator. And at $10 a brick, that's $720,000 right there.
And we have bricks for the various fire things.
Well, those are the ones that are inscribed on the ground. That would actually be the building bricks. We have to get a certificate that you own a piece of this. Yep. So the ideas are flowing, and I thank everybody who's thrown some ideas my way.
And $10 isn't very much, because
I know.
the other ones are.
Well, yes, but also that may appeal to everybody in town.
Yeah, that's it.
Way past the legal, because I want to get everybody involved.
And one last thing to ask you about, I didn't see on the schematic
Right.
for the building, the ramp into the river for Les's water car.
That's further down on Front Street. He takes us at Bacon Street? Bacon Street, down to the river. And he did it with my executive assistant in his car, and all of a sudden they went floating down the river. So maybe we'll start rides. Okay. Thank you. Oh, and I'll steal mine. Oh, it's up there. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
And you needed me to come here and support you for that. It's good to stop in. I know, it's good to stop in every once in a while.
All right, so
Yes, I do. Next, we have Sam on from Hunt Engineers to tell us about the police station project.
Oh, I'm really, I gotta hear this.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
So, as Mike said, I'm here to give a construction update on 90 Temple Street, the Owego Police Department. As some of you may have seen, they've started construction in the last couple of weeks. They're starting off with the masonry restoration work, and that's the big topic of what I'm here to talk about tonight. As we have uncovered some unfortunate conditions in the wall assemblies and the front stoop as well. I'm sure that's been a big surprise for the folks who have driven past it. So essentially what's going on is a big portion of the project is masonry restoration. That entails brick replacement and brick repointing, so the mortar joints in between. Now the contractors started on the brick removal for the actual restoration, and in the process of that has identified some pretty unideal conditions within the wall assembly itself. Now, being a old building, this is a true full brick wall assembly. It's about 4 courses deep or 4 widths. So the documents indicate to replace the face brick, the first course that's closest to the exterior. In the process of removing that, it was, seeing the interior coursing of the wall was in rough shape. So the mortar has kind of deteriorated to a point of sand, and the bricks themselves are crumbling. So that's presented us with an issue in the sense that we can't really build on top of that. It doesn't make sense to put a new skin on something that has bad bones. So, I'm coming to you to explain the situation and talk to, the potential changes we're going to see on this project. Now, I was out on site last Thursday and was doing some takeoffs with the contractor to identify, how much area is going to be needing to have additional work done. Essentially, each elevation has some additional work done or needing to be done. Our solution to this is to get down to an acceptable brick condition, which is, from what we're seeing, about 2 bricks into the 4 brick system. Now, keep in mind, everything is being shored and secured, and we're not seeing any kind of cracking or differential settlement happening. But what's going to need to happen is applying a parge coat of mortar or concrete to stabilize the interior of the wall. So then we have a good solid substrate to put new brick back on top of. As it appears right now, it seems that most of the areas that were called out for the masonry restoration are going to require this additional work to be done. So that's kind of the first part of it. I have gone through and kind of estimated based on information given from the contractor of a rough unit cost of the parging process. And it is a considerable number. Now, before I get into that, I want to see, do any of you have any questions about what is going on with the masonry restoration?
Sam, how far up are we talking on the building for this brick? We're not talking all the way to the roof, are we?
No.
I see them working 3, 4 feet, 5 feet up.
Yeah, so it's pretty much in that 3 to 5 foot range. There's some areas where it's up to 7 foot. And the reason for that is because it's all a multi-width brick system, there's what's called a header course where bricks are turned sideways and tie back into the wall system. So we pretty much have to go to a height of the header so that, the brick above doesn't fall down below. And in the base bid documents, the areas for masonry restoration were pretty much limited to the bottom. And that's due to the fact that, the bottom of the wall sees the most weather conditions, especially with the police department having a drive aisle on all 3 sides. That sees the most water, the most salt, and is in, typically the worst shape. So all this work is pretty much focused on the, the first floor level right above the foundation.
Questions about the work? And we'll say, we'll tell us about the budget.
Yeah. Okay, so as I said before, I got a rough budget number from the contractor of about $60 a square foot for the parge coat. He told me on site 50, so there, I'm projecting a little bit higher. We're going to have that conversation of what that number exactly is. I'm hoping to land at the 50, but I wanted to be prepared for, a worst case scenario. So going through each of the elevations, we're tracking out a potential total of $52,000. Now keep in mind that it does add up over the course of the work, and part of what plays into this is there are some additional foundation areas that are of a concern, and some areas where we called out for the brick restoration. We need to go further than just the face brick on the exterior coursing. So where we had indicated, say a 5 square foot area, really that's 10 because the contractor is having to do 2 courses back. So like I said, $52,000 is about what I anticipate for that specific scope of work. This would be on the the 2 sides in the back face of the building. The front face of the building has some issues of its own in terms of that front stoop area. Again, once that got opened up, the conditions revealed were very unfortunate. So the walls that are at the staircase and in front of the landings in front of the doors, that has a cinder block backup. If any of you are familiar, cinder block is not CMU or concrete masonry unit. It's a very porous material and it is not considered structural. So over the years, the water and salt has gotten in there, and that cinder block is essentially crumbling. So when they took the brick face off, they had chunks of the cinder block coming off with it, and you can actually go up there and poke it with your finger, and the wall starts to crumble. So that is very unideal condition, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to patch it because of the crumbling aspect to it. There's no solid structure at play, and with that being the case, we can't tooth in concrete masonry unit. We can't cast concrete in there because it's not going to get a good surface to bond to. So we're potentially looking at having to rebuild that front stoop, the 2 side walls and the walls that extend out on either side of the first staircase there. Now, obviously, this is presenting itself as a major issue, being the primary entry point for the public into the building. Again, this is, a unforeseen condition. Now, I want to be clear in the sense that from the state of the brick on the exterior, when we were evaluating the building, it is impossible to tell what the inside conditions are like. However, both myself, the contractor, and some colleagues I've talked with have never really seen masonry degradation to this point in the past. It's clear that there's been water issues over the years, and then they've gone unaddressed. So when it comes to this stoop area, like I said, it really does seem like a full rebuild scenario. This number I am willing to share with you, but I have to disclaim that it is very much a rough estimate at this point, without having the time to really work with the contractor to identify the solution and work through the details. I've kind of given it like a square foot cost, and this also came to about $56,000. Now, to touch on the budget overall, the contract amount that we awarded was $396,800. The total amount for this project allocated for construction is $544,647. So that left us with a contingency construction amount of $147,847. So with that all being said, these two potential changes are a considerable amount, and they do fall within our contingency with some remaining funds left over. So keeping in mind that these are estimates on my end, we're potentially looking at about $40,000 left over for contingency for the rest of the scope of work. Now, one thing I do want to kind of say is the masonry work is the bulk of the unknown conditions. So the rest of the work is that the window replacement, and that is a much more direct scope of work. So it's unfortunate that we're seeing these conditions. It's great that we have the funds to cover it. And I don't see us as being in a terrible position moving forward. I know we are just starting out in construction, but the contractor's done great work in terms of identifying all of the conditions and having a good understanding of where the building is at. And so, moving forward, I don't see us having too much of a hard time finishing out the project on budget. Now, with that being said, this project has a set budget and there is no going over. So I'd still need to work with the contractor to dial in this pricing. But with where they're at in the work, we are still waiting, I think about 7 weeks for windows. They're anticipated to be in, I believe, September timeframe. We need to keep them moving on the masonry work. So we are looking for direction to keep moving forward. Now, like I said, there are numbers to be clearly defined here. And this is kind of the first pass at it. So we hopefully will see some reduction. But, I have to be honest with you that there is potential for increase as well.
You get the public to buy some of those bricks.
Not a bad idea.
Maybe for us.
Sam?
Yeah.
On the front porch, how much are we talking about replacing on that porch? The entire thing?
So I'm approaching it from the perspective of replacing the two front walls and the two cheek walls that extend out towards the sidewalk. That's all that I would like to rebuild. The two walls.
Those are all the walls on the porch, are the two sides that come out of the two fronts. That's all the brick walls on the porch. Okay.
The two walls that go back to the building, we didn't call out for that to be masonry restoration. That was just repointing. And while they aren't exactly plumb, the brick is in decent shape, much better than what the front was. And the intent would be to salvage those in place. I'd also like to keep the concrete, the actual landing pads and the staircases all in place as well. However, until we take down those walls, we're unsure of what that actual condition is like under there. There might be some temporary support that's needed in order to make sure everything is stabilized.
Question for you, Mike. I don't think any of us know this. That's an historic building. I'm interested to know when that porch was put on that building and how historic that is.
So I think from what I saw on site, there was a plastic Pepsi bottle buried in the cinder block core. And from doing some research online, it looks like it could potentially be late 80s timeframe. So that stoop was definitely built relatively, in the present. I would think before that, it may have been something similar. Historically, when the building was originally built, it was probably a wood, a wood staircase.
There's a reason I ask this, because one of the things that we need there is a roof over that front porch, and we have problems, we think, with SHPO about adding that to this historic building, blah, blah, blah. But if that front porch was built in 1980, that's not historic. What's that?
If you don't mind me saying, well before that, we have photographs of the police officers standing there in the 50s, the 1960s, in front of the windows looking down those. So
something was there, but not this.
You know what? I can show you pictures of it. It looks awfully familiar.
Okay.
Now, it could have been repairs were done in the 80s at a certain time frame. But you're right, Rusty. The fact of the matter is, given the EPF funding on the project, we are strictly held to SHPO's advisory and approval process. So if we were looking to make a change, it would require going back to the state for approval.
So my thought process here is that if we have to do a bunch of things to that front stoop porch, maybe we build that in a way that sometime in the future, we can put a roof over the top of that. So I don't know how that works. We put some supports on the side of it that would be easy to put a roof on that. I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, what we would be building back would be a much more structurally sound condition. And I think that it wouldn't be unreasonable to say that, the new block wall probably is the way we're going, or potentially concrete, give you a foundation that's good enough to put porch support onto.
Yeah, so it come out from the sides, and then it turns to the center, and maybe those 2 points on the sides are reinforced, potentially put some sort of roof supports there. I'm just thinking along the lines of, we don't have to do it, but maybe we have it in our minds.
Rusty, did that water damage come from the faulty roof drainage? Because I don't think it came from any flooding, because that building was.
No, that's been going on forever and ever and ever. No, it's not that.
I think it's just poor drainage.
It's just, yeah, because we have no roofs there forever, so all the water comes down on that whole deck forever.
Yeah, so
that's the thing I'm thinking of, Sam, about somehow reinforcing the corners there. And then there's actually some corners in there towards the step in the middle too.
Yep.
If there were 4 reinforcement points there and a roof was to be built later, that would be all set to pop up to a roof. But you didn't hear that, SHPO.
right, and I didn't hear that either. So to kind of touch on it, the condition of deterioration, I do believe, is from water infiltration, as well as salt. I'm not sure if you guys actually use salt on that pad or if it's ice melt, but the salt and cinder block do not mix at all, and it exacerbates the issue. The other concern was the way the wall was built. There was no drainage, and there's nowhere for water to go. So the cinder block and the brick would absorb it, and then come wintertime, freeze thaw would then start to break that down. So when we would be building this back, we would definitely put more wall drainage, as well as drainage for the slabs in front of the doors, so that, in a heavy rainfall, water's not ponding up in there, and has a clear path out to go, so that, future deterioration would be limited.
And you're not looking for action from us tonight, right? You're just giving us a recap of what's going on.
So I would be looking for some action on approval to move forward with the masonry restoration work. So you have walls that are temporarily supported right now, and I do want to keep the contractors going. So I would like to be given the permission to have that work proceed. And in terms of the front stoop, I think there is still some design to be done for the actual new construction of it. But that I don't think is as pressing to have an answer on tonight.
So you're sniffing for somewhere in that 52 grand range to do that, the outside walls
Yes,
tonight? Okay, out of the contingency or something along that line.
right, correct.
Sam, what does this do to our completion timeline?
So it actually doesn't. It would probably take an additional 1 to 2 weeks on the masonry work itself, but it does not impact the overall construction timeline. So really, we're kind of at a hold until the windows are delivered on site. They were ordered the other week, and they have about an 8-week lead time. So there's some adjustment on the contractor's end to kind of shuffle things around, but he did assure me that while the masonry work would take more time than anticipated, the overall schedule would still be met.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
We need to be prepared for the windows. 'Cause I don't know what kind of deterioration there is around all those windows too. We just need to be prepared to some degree for that.
Just thinking about that September freeze we're gonna get.
Yeah.
So we want to approve the masonry change.
That was a good Tuesday.
I mean, it's
Buildings
it's
are-
exposed, yeah.
And it's a plan of contingency.
Yeah, it's within the budget. Good news. Good news and bad news.
So Sam, it sounds like we're gonna approve the movement of contingency money for that $60, $50 a square foot coating, blah, blah, blah. How do we do that? How much money do you need us to move and how do we go about that? We can make the motion.
So your verbal approval is enough for me right now. Like I said, we need to finalize the exact numbers. Once we get to that point, I'll have a change order prepared, and that will be, requiring the mayor's signature.
So should we do,
We're sniffing 50 grand though, but we don't want that to be up suddenly 150 grand.
60, new samples.
yeah, whatever you guys want?
Yeah, I like 60 would be good. Then we can feel
60
comfortable,
grand.
we can go, yeah.
Under that, I can just sign it, keep moving, over that. And we'll talk about
Yeah.
Move to approve $60,000 from contingency to, up to $60,000 from contingency for
Second.
The walls,
brick,
Harge and
replacement.
good bricks.
I haven't engaged you to tell us how to say this
it. I
thing.
know.
Wow. Rodney's gonna tell us how to say it.
Nate's camping and then his Phil had a family emergency like the last 2 hours before the meeting.
I move that.
Second that.
Okay, I got it.
All right. Aye.
All right, so we'll vote on that, that's to move forward with the brick repair. Brian,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, Sam, so work those exact numbers up and I can sign it.
All right, thank you very much. I will probably plan to have another update for you guys for your next board meeting. We do have a scheduled construction meeting tomorrow. Fred will be a part of that, so we'll keep you guys posted on the developments as they come.
Sam, every other update has to be good news.
Okay, I'll do my best.
All right, thanks, Sam.
All right, thank you all.
Sam, what's your last name?
Frauenhofer.
What and what?
Frauenhofer.
R-A-R-O.
Frauenhofer.
That's what we thought.
I knew I started with that.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, so the other thing we got, fire department.
So can I just do something?
Oh, sure.
You guys don't mind? That building, I think, was built in the 1860s. And those bricks, I've seen a lot. I'll be interested to see how much lead they find in the walls.
Something,
No, you're not wrong.
They had,
We're not done finding stuff.
they had a firing range in the basement.
The building was built in 1911.
19.
Hey, don't you guys
No,
fight about,
that's- no,
don't fight about when the
No,
building was
that's
built.
when the police department moved in there.
Don't fight about it.
It was the school.
It was a school well before that. And it was a school started in 1879.
So it was definitely led in the school.
Well, definitely led in the walls because they had shooting ranges in the basement back in the 40s and 50s, so.
But this is during school time.
Yeah, so it's because I think it was, from what I found, is it was sold to the village that it was town of Owego Hall offices before that. And they sold it, and then it went to the schools, and the schools were in there from 1879, 1880, up until they built up the central school on Main Street there. So we're talking, the police department was in there about 1910.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Neat photographs I got.
Resident historian.
Hey, police historian. It's been fun. I got a lot of stuff for you guys over time. Okay? All right. Thank you all. Have any questions? Just give me a shout out.
Perfect.
You were fine.
All right, so we got the fire department. Want to go spot here again? So you remember last time we did the motion to go out for some financing for the year, and they wanted to check into the legitimacy of the state bid pricing. So we did that, and he told me we had to split the purchase into two purchases.
One for Hamlet's.
One separated for 5,000.
That was not my normal.
One to Hamlet's.
Everything else.
So we have two motions on the agenda to actually approve the spending.
We can still
Whatever.
combine these together.
I think, well, Eric says that we're gonna pay for the 5,000 budget. And then, who's financing?
Move to, bond for, is that what we're doing? Bond for the $102,648.
No, this is actually to approve the purchase.
To approve the purchase of,
We already approved it.
approve the bond. Approve the purchase of that number I mentioned.
Second.
And discussion about that, so this is the quote that we got from Twin Tier Fire Service for coats, pants, hoods, all kinds of stuff.
How long are we looking at here? That's actually not too bad.
And we're approving the purchase, but, you second that, right? So we're approving the purchase, but of course, we're not gonna start paying for it till next year, so.
Right. Because we'll be financed and all that kind of stuff.
We don't have to get bids on this, right?
No, on the finance.
Yeah, I'll bids on the finance, yeah.
We're gonna need a grant to pay off anyway.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, we'll call that CPs. The extra 30. All right, so let's vote on that. Let's buy all that stuff for 102,600. Yes, Laura.
Yes.
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Yes. And then there's a second motion.
And I'll resolve to approve fire
Oh, where's
department
my paper?
purchasing protective gloves and helmets for $5,000.
Yeah, and this is actually,
Did you vote? Did you
Yes.
move that?
I'll second.
Helmets, gloves. Thank you. Right, second that. I already did it.
No.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
You let
yes.
the commissioner of the department make these motions. What's the first day here? Because you're gonna be sorry if I start making EMS motions.
Maybe not.
all right, moved by helmets and gloves. Dave, need a second.
Randy did.
Some coercion.
And,
So there is a question that, Eric is 500, or $5,000 enough to buy the, do the helmets on it?
yeah, it's on the, we have a quote there.
Okay,
And that's the exact number.
Yep.
Like up to $5,000 even.
This is still like.
Yeah,
you said,
right.
All right. So any other questions about the helmets and gloves?
Question, everything else, there's a quantity of 20,
what are the high vis stickers going on? Or they're not gonna go on everybody or?
I did stickers for helmets. Younger guys, like junior firemen have orange, but dignified, signified they're under 18 on those buildings.
Okay.
The helmets come with yellow.
So they're,
So you have to.
so you're
you have to
getting,
colorize the helmets.
you're getting 8 different helmets with stickers, or you're just getting
Getting 8 helmets.
8
Some of
helmets?
those stickers have to be removed. Other ones, please.
Okay.
Why aren't you getting one? You get them from the distributor, they come yellow, but we're getting orange to replace the yellow for our underage ones.
Okay.
That way they signify that they can't enter certain areas.
You need young, healthy people.
That's
nice.
And we only need 8 helmets right now.
Correct. That's what I thought last year.
Any other discussion about that? Vote on the helmets and the gloves. Right.
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
and yes.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
I just gotta give a driving action. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having us.
Stay safe. Appreciate you all. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much.
Other things under the old business are the rooster discussion. So the only thing we have for the rooster discussion is we update the law as we asked them to. And if you'd like to schedule a public hearing, we can do that for the second meeting in August.
And like the change, because I was here for this stuff, the change is to take out a jail punishment, just have a monetary punishment. That's the only change.
There was also one about chickens. That was additional too, wasn't it?
Oh, right.
Oh, is it? Okay, yes. Priscilla, you had that on the last one, but that,
It was still in green in the one.
it's still in green. Well, it is also about the chickens who fought like roosters, or like roosters.
Crow.
Is that correct?
Or something.
I said, it's not.
Yeah, you added, and any female chicken that is engaged in the practice of crowing at least 3 times within 1 month period.
We added that last time.
Yeah.
Read that.
The only thing new this time is the penalties you took out right jail time. They read this from there. The penalties now is a fine of no more than $250 each day. They used to say, or 15 days of jail.
Yes, and we took the jail time out, which is the monetary.
I think we've ever actually utilized them.
No, that's in about every.
So Mike, I was only half listening, so you said, the part we said we're going to rooster shall mean any male chicken, is that correct?
Right, so last meeting he changed, he added that last sentence to the roosters.
Including a control cars.
And any female chicken. And last night he explained that that is in there, but would probably be very hard to enforce.
Well, if we're interested in doing a more complete thing on this, doesn't have to necessarily be here. We might have that in our animal noise ordinance about any particular animals making particular noises for a particular amount of time, blah, 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 blah. Rather than that piece.
How is our code enforcement officer going to determine the age of the animal? And how is our code enforcement officer going to determine the sex of the animal? At the 3 months, if, biologists and stuff don't quite have that determined that like that, is when you can determine the sex. Like some, some takes a little bit longer to show. Than 3 months.
Well, they won't even be going, checking in backyards and stuff
Unless there's a-
unless they show.
We have no business in their backyard unless it's a complaint.
And how will they determine the age?
Assuming if it's a full-blown rooster, it is quite large, it'll be very obvious, but other than that, I have no idea.
But I don't think it matters.
Are we assuming
It's
that,
about
that
the
3 months,
Well, it does say 3 months. Or something like that as far as.
we certainly could ask some rooster people, but are we assuming that 3 months could still be little, but we're saying we're not gonna make it 2 years.
I literally know nothing, they crow, I don't know when they start crowing.
I wonder what you can tell, they're a rooster versus a chicken. Andrew.
It varies depending on the breed.
Kind of like puberty for a chicken, I mean for a rooster.
When they reach sexual maturity is when they start making their noise.
Do you have any idea how long that is?
The one accidental rooster I had, he was about 17 weeks old when he showed in his color and with his voice. Because there's certain colorations that only roosters will display.
Like 12 and 14-year-old boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I have those. I have those. No roosters.
And was yours making, I don't know, I wasn't listening, was yours making noise before that?
No, it was at that age that
That
I started hearing it in the morning, and then I realized, oh, he's also got some color that only a rooster would have.
So 3 months is a reasonable amount of time for, I'm just saying, for our code guys to be sniffing around and or asking, and if one does it, they will be older than 3 months. Jeff?
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Because somebody.
If one's
it's
waiting, it'll be over
Right.
3 months old.
It's only if someone is
Doesn't mean
complaining.
except at 3 months, we gotta find every single thing that might become a rooster, because we don't really necessarily know, but we know when they start crowing, they're older than that.
Probably is.
Potentially, if these blackout boxes do their job, we'll never know.
That's true. As long as somebody turns it away. Or the colors.
I still think that's dangerous.
So again, this is just to schedule a public hearing.
I would like to make a motion to schedule a public hearing for 7 o'clock on Monday, August 17th. Here, for on proposed local law number 5, year 2026, a local law amending the code of the village to prohibit the keeping of roosters.
We have a second for that.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, just to schedule a public hearing.
Just to
And obviously, once we schedule a public hearing, we'll go on our website, we want it as, we don't want to change it after the public hearing, really.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's 2 meetings, that's 2 meetings.
Yes.
That's true. Nate gave us that date, and I won't be here the first meeting in August.
That's when you should have it done, Mike.
I just go for it, but Nate's looking at the week anyway.
That's okay.
Something with advertising. I tried to put down 100 bucks. I think I can throw people out. All right, so we got a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing.
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
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 Russell,
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And yes. We'll have a public hearing. 2 minutes. Zoning and planning still needs numbers. I know.
How many down are we, Mike?
About.
We sent one, yeah.
Okay.
They just sent a letter.
You say we have 3 on each?
Yes. So if anybody's interested, have an email me.
Does that also include, the Marty leaving? He was down there. Is he gone over?
Yeah, I think it was the first of this month or something.
I think so, yeah. So everybody knows anybody, send me an email, figure out if we want to get that. County has it. They always need people to volunteer.
Mentioned me.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
yeah, I know you don't want it, that's why we wanted to do it.
Well, Charles, that's what I did in my off time.
Next thing we got is the SRO contract. So we're trying to do this ahead of school instead of after school starts. The only thing that changed in it was we had a 3-year contract and we made the amount of money the school pays us go up a certain percentage each year so we can give our SROs a raise. It's happened for a bunch of years in a row.
I have a question about, section 2.2, just says omit. Is that, yeah.
I remember. Oh. I know they took out the thing about the school giving us a car. They already gave us cars. That may be within the. I can't quote that. I don't remember. But there was stuff in there about the school providing us 2 Chevy Malibu's and this and that, which obviously we already had.
They still signed the SRO, I think that was just a place.
Yeah.
And the only other question I had was on 2.7, it said if the SRO is absent, they should notify his or her superior in the village. So who do they notify?
The chiefs of police.
Excellent.
They report to our police department, so they're employed by us, so they're actually real police officers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep, excellent.
it's kind of interesting, like they'll notify the chief and the principal of the school that they work.
Sounds like a good plan. Everyone's surprised then.
Because the chief usually will have somebody else go cover.
That's my only question.
You know, like I said, the only changes where we took out the car, because they don't need to give us new cars every year.
Under 2.0, it says SRO will be provided a village vehicle. Is that a school vehicle or a village?
So it's technically a village vehicle. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's uniforms and weapons.
Dress code.
So we maintain the vehicle?
No, the school does.
Okay.
The only thing we do is put gas in it, and there is extra money in the amount on top of what we actually pay the SRO, cover their uniform and insurance, gas.
My company vehicle, we've got 3, right? Because one of these times, we need to have 4 vehicles. I know one of the officers said he didn't need one, but sometime, it doesn't have to be this contract, but sometime we need to have a 4th vehicle.
So the school wanted one at each school, that's why there's 3.
Right, and so the high school, middle schools together, they just.
Yeah, except that they have to come together.
Well,
They don't each have one.
one guy doesn't get to take one car.
Well, that's the reason, is so the officer will have a car.
Yeah, I know the school's intent was just to have one car.
So one of the officers lives in Missouri Valley and one lives in Barton and they got one car. No, it just, they were always willing to give us the extra car. We just haven't asked for it yet. I'm not saying we need to do it this time, but sometime we need to ask for that extra car when that officer doesn't want it.
We would get an extra car for 3 more years if we don't do it now.
I mean, we could do a different.
If one of the officers that needs that car and we ask them for it, then they'll either give it to us or not.
And we can update this whenever. It doesn't have to be 3 or something. This is just makes it easy. That we don't have to keep doing this every year. Was the last statement, says it.
Where are we, Mike?
I'm just saying about updating it, but anybody can update it at any time as long as everybody agrees.
Oh, yeah, 13.3, this agreement may be terminated anytime by either party upon 5 days written notice, so you decide, say, no, we're not doing that.
This just makes us not have to do it every year, because right now we do, and a lot of times we forget, and then it's halfway through the school year, and we haven't done it. And they don't pay us until we do it, so.
So anyway, yeah, it's pretty much standard. The officers need to get more, everybody else gets more than our guys. And they've been willing to do it for less, but we need to at least give them a raise. And we generally get about $10,000 extra for each officer from them for things like the gas in the car, the uniforms, and the training, blah, blah.
Yeah, like the fight,
All that other stuff. I mean, it's still not making us completely whole that
we as the village know this money. So the school district pays us.
So what do we need to do here? We need to pass the
Contract.
pass the contract and authorize the mayor to sign it?
Correct.
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion about the contract? Okay. Frank?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
No.
Yes. And yes. Yes, okay. Sign that. So we got payment of business.
I asked that we pull out the bills for Barton and Leadus and JMG Consulting, so that the board members can look over the invoices before we approve the payments.
I'm gonna ask that you do this before the payment of bills, because this has been for 3 months now, you're pulling these two out particularly. You know they're on the agenda, why are you not getting this information before the meeting?
I did ask for it ahead of the meeting, it was late, but I haven't received it yet, and all of our trustees should be able to see those bills, and you're actually supposed to review these invoices before they're
I'm
paid.
very well aware of our obligation, but it seems like every month you keep picking on these two entities, and it just seems like targeting.
Well, they haven't been supplied to us to see, and so I'm asking for them to be supplied for us to see before we approve the invoices. And there have been unqualified expenses that we have paid in the past. And it's not right for the taxpayers to be paying for unqualified expenses.
I understand the reasoning, I just didn't understand the logic for every single time this comes up. Like, I think we should address this beforehand. Because, I mean, these entities, if they are giving us this information, we need to address that. If they're not, we need to address something else.
And if they provided the invoices to us to look at before sending them in, that would be a good step.
I mean, if we don't have an invoice, I don't see how we can fill out. I assume we have an invoice.
Do we have?
Do you have the invoices?
We don't get invoices for every single bill, right?
We don't.
We do.
He will send out a detailed payment of bills for you, because I question a lot of bills. And I get them more, because sometimes it comes up under a certain title, but it has more involvement in the payment.
That's true.
Well, last time I had this question, I made you a copy of the detail. Just do that again. And what was the comps you talking about, Barton and the Gersh?
Barton and Leadus and JMG Consulting.
So, I mean, I almost feel like if we're holding it back, we should almost pay them with interest when we pay it then, because we're not, like, especially twice.
If they're not submitting the invoices in the timely manner, I don't know if they are or not. I'm just saying if they're not, then we're calling them.
No, I think. But,
These aren't late payments. when the original contracts were set up, we had a monthly payment, and now we've moved to twice a month billing. And it, it's us looking at the invoices, like we're required to, doesn't make them late to pay.
I agree with Ron, we keep picking on these two, and not the rest of the packet. They're gonna eventually come after us.
I do question some flashy things that just don't seem valid, and I bring them up. I appreciate that you're doing that, but there's one or two things happening here. Either they're doing it wrong, or we're just picking on it.
Rod, we got the invoices?
I can dig them up, but just to make everybody copy. Guys look at it, and if you just call in and say it's okay, then we'll mail it out. Right? Consensus. That's how you can go and look at the copy of the thing. What else you want to see?
I guess it would come down to the billable hours. Is that what you're looking for? What they're billing for, as far as their hours?
What are they billing for? Are they billing it? Yeah. In one of the cases, is it being billed for the grant, or is it being billed to the village for non-grant work? So I want to see what is being billed to the grant.
I assume these would have to come up in different invoices, if one is grant, one is not.
Probably. Why would we be paying Martin Carucci non-grant stuff?
We only pay Barton and Louise the grant.
So then your question really isn't that, the question is whether or not Julie Nucci's stuff is grant or not.
We're supposed to see all of the invoices for the grant before we pay them. And so it includes also seeing what Barton and Louise has done at the same time.
We give you down all this.
Well, Julie's quit.
She's done something.
And part of why she quit, is we don't let her. Yeah. So people can't work with her.
Right, so I guess I move that we pay the bills for the exception of these two until we get some.
Well, I would do that, but then I would ask that we have a special meeting just to pay those bills next week. So that we don't hold people up, because I think that is wrong too. And I do think we could be liable for that in the village. And we would hate to have an issue like that.
I'm not terribly excited about having a special meeting just to pay this bill.
Well, then show me something else you want an invoice for, so we can start pulling other ones out.
I haven't shown you anything I wanted an invoice for at all.
Right, well, then.
I'm talking about.
I want invoices for water, I want invoices for electric. I mean, I tell everybody what I want the invoice for. And it's usually fairground, fair stuff.
Okay.
Because I feel like the village taxpayer should not be paying for something they're making a profit on.
But you get all that.
That's not good. They haven't paid me yet, but I do get the information.
Well, I'm saying, hold on.
How much longer, will we be working on this grant? How many more months?
What, a 5-year grant? Just tell me.
Well, I think we should go ahead and pay it, since you already have the invoice. And then we'll look at it. If there's an error, then it'll be deducted out of the next one. That would
be fair.
That would be the fair thing to do. I mean, I agree with Ron. How many months have we done this to them? Month after month after month after month.
Each time I've brought it up and then we've seen the invoices, we've approved it at the very next meeting after they've shown it to us.
Correct. My question is, why do we not just keep the invoices for this particular thing beforehand, and we can avoid all this?
The last time we had to remove unqualified expenses from the charge that was being applied to the grant.
Did you not just hear the statement I just made? Let's look at them beforehand, rather than after the meeting, so we can approve them or disapprove them. And we have actual information to use.
That's why I'm asking that we look at the invoices before we approve paying it, because we have paid invoices in the past for unqualified expenses, and we are going to have to go back and you know, the state's gonna make us
You realize I'm
not
arguing
pay.
an argument here, right? I want the information beforehand. You keep arguing against me. I want them to give us the proper information. I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm on your side. But it seems like you're kind of bickering with me over this.
I don't understand you. I want the information before the meeting, and what is it that you're saying?
That's
that-
exactly what I am saying. I want the proper information before we make a decision. Let's get the invoice on this rather than bickering during the meeting. So it can be paid. I'm agreeing with you.
So can the invoices be supplied to the board with the rest of the agenda stuff next time? Or each time it comes up?
So you only want these two, or do you want all the invoices that we pay?
The invoices that the board is supposed to approve for grants. This one specifically says that the board is responsible for looking over the invoices before it's approved. We look over specific invoices when there's a question for all kinds of grant money. Why can't we
So here's the deal.
apply this?
You're not right. You're not wrong. If there's a question, we want to see the invoice. So if you have a question, get from Rodney the invoice. If there's something you have, or else Mike is saying he wants to give you every single invoice, and you were saying, oh, I want the ones from the grant. So the ones you want, ask Rodney for, unless you want every invoice of everything.
It just.
Well, I'm just trying to get it for you.
Makes sense to do it before the meeting, though. Not to do it here. This is not the place to do it. It should have been done last Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday when you looked at the paperwork that was in our mailbox. That would make sense. That would be the time to do it, because then Kim would have time, or Nikki would have time to pull it out and send it to everybody. And we can have a hard time with the rest of it.
That's what I'm trying to, like,
Yes.
prepare everything before the meeting. Just come in and ask for it.
These checks, that list was mailed to us on the 17th, at the end of the day. Like, it's not like I really have a lot of time to ask the office for, you know, to come in over. But it doesn't matter exactly about what time. We are required to look those over before we're approving them. We know there have been unqualified expenses in the past. There's a problem, and I really think we should stop avoiding it. Like, we should potentially have a meeting where we look over these invoices and see all the unqualified expenses that we've paid out, because it's waste and abuse that we have in this grant.
Have a special meeting with every single invoice. Because I think if we pull these two separate, we're targeting. I feel like we're getting invoices. We need invoices.
Not my turn.
I mean, I just feel like like you said, we should have the invoice for everything, so we should just get an invoice for everything. And if we want to read all 30 pages of that, then there's our business, then there's our duty. And I just feel like pulling two invoices is not a good idea.
That's what we're supposed to do. We listen to the comptroller, and we vote her out. That's what we're supposed to do.
10-minute recess, I'll see if I can take them up.
I think that would be, I would like that if you could do that.
I would much rather that than another meeting.
So that's what I'm saying. 10 minutes, yeah, 3 hours.
I agree.
Take
We
5.
have to make one.
We take it off.
What's the third break?
Talk more.
Just don't make any motions, because Rodney's not here right now.
That's the
Myers doing Barbara Walters.
Yes, that's it.
I. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So I'm going to try to save some time. Because this is just a quick discussion, Ronnie doesn't have to take notes of this. We have the thing from Bubble Buds that gave us. Yeah, what did we say? Okay, so what I'd like to do is I would like us to respond to that, and I lost my paper already. Crap. With the asking for a 30-day extension. You got 30 days, that's, by the time we get this, it's like 30 days, but this is what we did with somebody's liquor license that shouldn't have had a liquor license, and we didn't respond. I would like us to do what it says, to have 30 more days to respond to this. I'd like to I've been trying to reach Mr. Haynes. I'd like to find out where he's at, what's going on. Is this a second thing in Owego? Are there going to be two? What's this? I'd just like to know some more about it. I'm sorry. I tried to reach him. So I will be making a motion that we, on the second page here, it says that community requested 30-day extension and tells how you have to do it. Who does that? You or Rodney? So would a motion, assuming the board would want to do that, would a motion to make a motion that Rodney or you responds to this, and it has to be done right now. You're out, Charles? See you, Charles. Planning or zoning, which one do you want?
Charles declines.
Yeah.
Are you done?
No, I'm not done. I'm just got weeks for taking back outside here, and I just don't want to leave if he's still here.
But you want to ask for, I'm going to go up.
Get the cops to come back.
I'm going to go out and protect Doug. Oh, I love when she's tough. Just let me around for the four-way stop at Church Street. Not really. Hopefully.
I did not get my detail at this moment. Looks like the credit cards. So, got it.
So I'm gonna ask for that. Mike, I'm gonna ask for that. I'm gonna just say it all real quick. I'm gonna ask for the 30-day continuation. I'm gonna make a motion that we.
You should represent another establishment.
Someone had the original license and we're trying to find out what's going on. I'm also gonna, if the minutes are correct, we made the motion to accept the police chief's two events, but I didn't see in the motion that we waived all the fees and rules for him. So I will make that motion if we didn't.
Yeah.
I'll just make that cut real quick when we're back here again.
Stop going to Myrtle Beach, all that's going to be done.
That's it. I wouldn't drive all the way down there. Bethany Beach.
Well, Bethany Beach.
Right by Ocean City. That's
That's where I'll be up first.
Yeah.
Bethany,
Ocean City.
Ocean City.
I'll drive past that to get there.
Well, I know what you want to know. I know an awful lot about Ocean City.
I know.
Happy hours and buy one, get one free. Oh, it's a summer house on Rehoboth Avenue every Monday. Half price burgers, fabulous. And all kinds of fixins and fries and onion rings and all this crap for $8 or something.
Where's this?
This is in Rehoboth Beach, right on Rehoboth Street. It goes down. It's called Summer House. 220 Rehoboth.
I'll check it out.
Oh, I highly recommend this. You don't belong to American Legion, but the American Legion down in Ocean City has got a beautiful second floor balcony. 4-H thing, and it's beautiful up there, and it's, you don't care about it. An $8 IPA for $3, and it's $20 fish and chips for $9. It's American Legion.
I can't drink it.
That's, my advice is gonna be bad then, because you don't know who are these bars are.
Last year.
No.
No, I'm all right. I don't think you know. We had it. I spread it. Yeah, I got you. I was sad, so there's ice cubes in here. Oh, yeah, you got, yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah. It's, we're gonna, well, it was the. So I'm really sure. The other one is. Well, I got off. For the rest of it. And I was like,
Information one in here.
yeah, but we need.
It's not coming from this man, I'm not coming from this store. Try to make it simple if you can. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, it's almost 9:05. We gotta move.
I'm out of ice, so we really do need to.
This particular thing, it's not an unreasonable thing. Just took away. Most of your reports, so your report has to be real small today. You did this.
Okay.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, the brown, it's very like French.
Oh,
okay. They didn't win the, it was Spain. How did your book start? She, or good for her.
Yeah, but say I wasn't there. I was late.
Yeah, well, actually, yesterday's game, it, I mean, they did that whole thing. It was kind of into it, you know, so whatever.
I would have been, I'm not into games at all.
Yeah.
Argentina played.
Yeah, well, in Spain, they thought they got the second goal, and then it was offsides, which I, offside is, you said too many people over one line, like, I don't know how they didn't figure it. I have a friend who went. Were you having the sun? I can't see
Oh,
you.
yeah.
You out?
What?
Are you out?
I'm leaving, yes. Yeah, Wendy. The other week. So I really.
No, he said Charles.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure you looked.
Yeah, my car is right out here, and I go resting on the beach.
Oh, it's outrageous. I kind of wanted to stay till the end so I could publicly say, you guys were all ears. Work towards something that addresses everything. Everybody's got their rights to be concerned and have their complaints. So I'm sorry it got so, it's gotten, they were the first people that I went to that signed my petition last summer. And I thought, cool, we're all on the same page, but no, we're not. I don't know on the Zoom, but I don't know if they all are. I don't think you were here before.
Every single thing went broken. But it just get back. It did make me, because, like, I think the one that caught me out the most was when I found like a $500 Easy Pass bill. But Easy Pass was the first thing that was on the bill, and it was actually a lot more items.
Correct. That's what happened with the police department with the flashlight, because there were gloves and other uniform
It
things on
wasn't
there.
just a $600 flashlight.
Yes.
It was a cool flashlight, but it wasn't.
Well, that was Jeff's flashlight was a cool flashlight. This, you know.
Cake lady.
She's
Or even
really-
cake lady.
Yeah.
You did this for my son's birthday.
Oh, I
Years
did.
ago.
It's right, the cockroaches.
He'll still talk about it. He wanted to see cockroaches.
Yes, I
The best job.
would follow her.
Did
you see the large cockroach that I did?
No.
It was really big, it was literally awesome.
Oh
It's
my
this big.
God, you've had a.
Actually, you did the hot tub for Johnson. Oh my gosh. It was Santa in the hot tub in like one of these wood barrel hot tubs. That was.
And Frosty the Snowman, people melted all these off on campus. I cracked myself. I just they're just laughing. It was the coolest cake. We're still like.
We're all giving them contingent upon.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Did you pick up your baker's patch? I did. Now I just make pretzels. I imagine that time to still at the same place. My husband is the brewer. Oh. That's our. We do it. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I get leaks. Remember I get leaks in my droop? I was in fucking there. Oh.
She did cupcakes. Cupcakes, flowers, and baskets for my daughter-in-law's shower. And the one for the white baskets, we brought the vintage bikes to the shower. Cupcake basket on it, and the other one on the shoe. They were the most gorgeous.
That's really cool.
And my one actually still talks about you teaching us how to make dog ice. She did us a private class and we did cupcake dogs. That was
Oh my God. That's such a blast. I still have my Facebook page up.
Yeah.
On Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'll look you up there. I'm on Facebook. It's a hellscape. If you can find the large cockroach. I will look for that.
But I don't see that in the hot tub.
That was one of my favorites, but then my other favorite, which the picture doesn't do justice, is the raw oyster.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I
Maybe
remember
not a
that. Oh my
chocolate.
gosh, that was,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So funny. Your stuff is so cool. Do you know Paul's? I know your name is on Facebook. Yeah, my husband goes all the time.
Does
Yeah,
he?
I tend to be. I made you a name. I'm secretary. And we go in the, we don't go in the summer. We're busy.
Right.
We raise our girls. Oh, yeah.
Let's,
Georgiana? Yep. Okay, I know she's in the prayers for the
we can
council.
do some contingency, we can put
Yeah.
them and.
Names.
Some
There's four.
How about we?
I used to, Autumn was one of the names. Yeah. Okay.
Would you?
So
How
I
about
used to
this?
do the office. when I was going.
That's
fun too. Yeah.
Your.
Small world. It is. Mother truly.
You would bear, you would like the things that are your
I would. But the
concerns
things
about those.
I made the, yeah.
So it's
I made
contingent
the
on my.
names for all the commissioners and I made one for you, and I was like, that's the latest.
If you want to do it that
And
way,
I saw
no,
your name on
I'm
the
just trying to
trustee,
move it along.
and I'm like,
complain to us because we're paying bills ahead of when we actually. So we were late.
We're probably not supposed to take token.
Right. Yeah. And we were to avoid being late on much stuff.
Yeah, well, that's a reasonable control.
That's why we switched it to every meeting instead of every other meeting. Because the office was just paying that, assuming that.
So, hey, while we're sitting here, anybody got anything about the treasurer's report? Other than paying the bills, treasurer's report? Problem? Problem, treasurer's report? Okay. Rodney can write this down. I mean, it gets here, I move that we accept the treasurer's report.
So I don't know what the rest of the meeting. That's why I can't take the notes.
Yeah.
Doing it in a row.
Somebody second me?
Kathy. Did you call?
Holy crap, Rodney's got, no. No.
You should look at those every month, right?
So we spent it.
Rodney, I move that we accept the treasurer's report, for a second.
Kathy seconds it. So we'll vote on that as treasurer's report.
Let's do it.
Yes.
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 Yes, and yes. Keep looking for that. I'm talking about the minutes.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I want to make a correction to the minutes. There was approved 4 previous minutes in these minutes, because we had 3 Monday night meetings in a row, but on one of these it says 22nd of June, and on another one it says 22nd, and that should be Wednesday the 24th. So I want to just have that amended.
What page is that?
July 6th thing that,
It's on page 8.
on page 8, page 9 or 8, goes over one of those minutes. There's a double of 22nd, one's a 24th.
Well, there's another thing on there under trustee reports for Ron Pelton. He said that there was no sewer EDU change for this year.
Just that they're gonna discuss meeting changes, assuming changes. As per our annual meeting, they say it's supposed to be the first week in July, but I believe we have to change it anytime. But I mean, I know during the annual meeting, it was very specific.
There's no legal thing.
Ron has done his job, and he's reported to us that there's no anticipated change.
That's right, and we just want it recorded in the minutes that he did his annual duty. And then on page 11, for the motion of the cemetery grant, we need to change it. It says the money for it is coming from Tioga County Soil and Water, and that's not true. It's
The match.
the match, yeah. The match will be coming through Southern Tier 8. And the money's coming from ARC, which is the Appalachian Regional Commission.
So those couple of changes.
Yes, with the date change, the EDU change, and the money funding change, those 3 changes. I have a motion to approve with those changes.
Second.
Any other changes to the minutes from last time? Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make a motion that we contact the Office of Cannabis Management and ask for a 30-day extension to provide an opinion. And so that's generally the motion, although who's gonna do it, Rodney or the mayor? Mike will figure it out. I don't know how, which one. Now, who's gonna do it now, it's gonna be done, but it has to be done right now. This was received the 23rd, so we've got 30 days to do this with them. Coming up, is today 23rd? No.
It's the 20th.
But anyway, it has to be done. I talked during my motion. Wait for a second. Waiting for a second.
Second.
Okay, there we go. Yes.
Well, if we want to say anything, Brian Haynes had the license. I tried to reach him, and he's been working on this for a long time. This is somebody else, and I don't know what the story is on this, but they're asking for a license. Want to know more about what are you planning to do, where are you going, what's going on. You don't know anything about it. And if we want to find anything out about them, we got to do it. So I want us to have 30 more days. And I've been trying to reach Brian, and he hasn't returned my call yet, but he usually does. And Mike is in touch with him to find out, are you part of this? What's going on? Where is it? What do you know?
I know he did have the license for a weekend.
And he should still have it. All right, anyway, that was my motion that we asked for the 30-day extension.
Good reason.
Any other discussion about that? Brian?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Or you would know.
I mean, no.
We can save a lot of time. We can just, put you down for going no cops, no marijuana licenses, no. That's fine. Get to do this.
So we'll file that.
Thank you.
Today.
Last piece was the 2 Marvin Park reservations for the PPAs and police department for the 2 affairs, and you approved them in the minutes, but I didn't see in the minutes that we waived all fees and rules. And so if we didn't do that, I move that we waive those.
I second.
Can that be implied in the villages doing something in the village property?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I would think it would be implied. Why would we pay ourselves?
Yeah, that was,
Well, because this is kind of,
this makes it.
this is kind of quasi, I mean, it's not really the police department's doing it, it's the PBA, it's the chief, it's not that.
It's the union.
Yeah.
Yeah, they charge them.
We got fees, why not?
We should be doing other buildings.
Fees and standard rules. And then, of course, but they obviously have to do the things that are required for fireworks, et cetera. But those are not things that we do.
Yeah, we can. State says we can.
Okay,
So. Second that.
I second.
What, how are you gonna vote no?
Okay, so it's to waive the fees. Because I think we can.
Yes.
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 What am I? Rusty?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And yes. Anything else, Rusty?
No.
Kathy?
Nope, nothing.
Ron?
No.
For me, the grant, I still have not received all of the materials that I asked for with oil. I'm hoping to get those materials. I did oil for those records in March. I'm still waiting. There is waste and abuse of taxpayer funds occurring related to the grant, called flood risk reduction for FEMA CRS grant. The board is responsible for reviewing invoices before payment, determining whether consultant work aligns with the contract scope, ensuring staff and officials are informed, correcting administrative deficiencies, and ensuring grant goals are met locally. I have concerns regarding the technical inaccuracies in the work product, the lack of meaningful progress towards the CRS goals, inadequate consultant expertise, the poor communication and exclusion from meetings, invoice review concerns, failure to properly track floodplain development, failure to properly collect permit fees,
and failure to identify compliance deficiencies. The office still at this point haven't developed processes and procedures for identifying flood risk zone properties. So when people come in with their projects, the office still isn't helping people know if their house or property is in a flood zone and whether or not, when they're getting applications, whether or not they need to have a building permit or not. And so that affects their ability to enforce the laws if they're not looking up the flood zones of the properties. They can't exactly enforce the laws. Another topic, the Buffalo Solar has pushed off the mobilization date to September 14th for the installation.
What was it before?
The 21st of July.
Yeah,
Has
tomorrow.
2 months off.
Yeah. Good gravy.
So September 14th is a new mobilization installation date. The program for public information, the committee had its second meeting. The fund insurance documents I ordered in January have not arrived. And the New York Health Act is this universal healthcare plan that has majority support. It's moving through the state agencies. July 30th, here in Owego at 6:30, there's a presentation at the Presbyterian Union Church. That's on the corner of North Ave and Temple Street. And there'll be local numbers provided about how much savings taxpayers would have for their property taxes and off their school taxes too.
Just tell us it's happening, don't sell it to us.
Okay, so 6:30, July 30th is this presentation. It's really good, and people can ask any questions they want of the author and other people who are experienced with the bill. That's it for my report.
That's a good thing for people to pay attention to. Thank you.
No report.
Grant.
No report.
Oh, yeah, we did respond to the auditor from the audit that everybody's bringing up earlier.
Yeah, we have to, this thing.
Well, the response was that we are phasing out Jan and hire. And to account for a lot of costs to our accounting, because that was 99% of the problem.
Is that?
Jan wasn't doing a good job.
We really started back and we didn't give rid of questions.
Is that something that's like under 20,000 a year, or what price did we hire the accountant at, and what are they doing for us?
It's a professional service.
Yeah. They're supposed to, they're going to do the AFRs. Here's the problem, Jan has the AFRs here. They have them here, they have to give to me. Jan sits up here tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe finish up what she's got, and these guys can take over. And then what they're gonna do, they're gonna like eventually do like the treasurer's report and all that kind of stuff. So that's what they, well, before they get rolling, so get those numbers and then they've been working on it, so they've been working on it. I think before the audit came, this was all in work on. Last 16, 9 months. It wasn't a big shot.
When did we hire a new accountant? And who are they and what specifically are they gonna be doing?
Yes, we did approve. Yep.
So we'll get to the numbers.
Usually, we want good numbers. I'm not a bookkeeper, never got that one. And I've been a better bookkeeper for 10 years. I'm a bookkeeper, you gotta pay once.
Mike? We pay all the bills except the two that are in question.
Yes, sir.
One second.
Yes. No. Yes.
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 Yes. I'll make sure we get you a copy of all the insurance. So. I guess the actual thing.
Mike, I was wondering how accurate the article in Courier was.
You're asking for trouble there.
Front page of the Courier.
You're talking about the audit. There's one in the Penny Saver, there's one on my TV stations, they're all passing.
Directly from the audit, and you can go on and read the audit. I think you should.
Good job, good job.
We received it.
Yep. The implications are because it's TV. The implications are, oh my goodness, oh gracious, the sky's falling in. We all know that that's not how it is. This is a typical audit. It's typical.
It's pretty much accounts. Most things don't change. I don't know what they want to do.
The audit gives us recommendations for how we
I
can
know, I'm
improve.
just asking how accurate the article in the paper is.
You should have got a copy of the audit.
Should I have it right here with me? But you don't want to see it now anyway.
Yeah, they just quoted directly from the audit. There's no inaccuracies about it.
But even quoting directly from the audit is completely out of context. I mean, just of what's what.
Yeah.
I got it here.
You can get that.
Well, I mean, my whole impression was that the complaints with the audit is procedure, not that there was anything missing.
We haven't had anything missing in a zillion years, and every year they say the same thing, which they say, there's never money missing, it's always, if you do it, we're not doing it best practices, if you do this, like when we would have one person on an account, we wouldn't have another person, it wouldn't be a check and balance. That leads to the potential of trouble happening, that's what they always find for us, and that's what they found again. And there's never been any money missing. Because Rodney's very clever about finding them. Yes. Are we done with the meeting? Or after meeting?
Public comment.
Oh, yeah.
Been right around the whole time.
She is
Yes.
waiting on purpose.
Okay.
There's a timer.
I wasn't necessarily planning to comment, but I just wanted to say, I'm Andrea Jones from the Southside Development. I just wanted to reiterate that I appreciate that I came in here last year. Just my goal from the start with this chicken issue was to counter the push for a total ban on poultry, to advocate for reasonable rules to be put together if that was deemed necessary. And my experience is that I was met with the willingness to listen and learn about a topic that most of you didn't have any firsthand experience with. And I have always felt like respecting the rights of everybody that's involved has been important to you guys. So I just feel like there's a lot of negativity and accusations and stuff that aren't necessarily fair. So I just wanted to put my voice in there and say that I appreciate the efforts that have been made, and that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment? We got a couple people. So. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Go home.
Thank you. Yeah. Look and say.
I'll read it.
Taxes too little. My eyes are bad.
Sarah Chester says the board has a fiduciary responsibility to provide due diligence and oversight, which includes reviewing all invoices, specifically external contractors and independent contractors, in advance of payments to ensure that village taxpayer funds are being used as intended. Reviewing all invoices at each meeting is the bare minimum of expectations for a board member serving on any board. And then audits do not lie. Money may possibly not be missing, but they certainly can be misappropriated or misused.
Who's that from? Sarah Chester.
Sarah Chester. She's quite outraged with us over readings on, I believe, her mother's property. That's the way it used to be.
Sweet, sure.
I'm sure we moved to do it.